can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's your boy Ernie Blerd without fear. Today, we got a special guest in the building. Technically, digitally. We are joined today by not just one, but two-time Eisner Award winner, two-time Ringo Award winner, if I'm not mistaken. There might be a third out there somewhere we don't know about. You know his work from Bitter Root. You have seen his work on Power Man and Iron Fist. More recently with Red Hood, The Hill, and actually even more recent now because it's coming out this week, Doom. All caps when you spell his name. What is going on, my brother Sanford Greene? How you doing?
Oh man, what is good, sir? What is good?
Oh,
Thanks
man.
for having me, man. I appreciate you having me.
Anytime. Hey, anytime. You like I said, I've been a longtime fan. A huge fan of your work, huge fan of your art. Just it is chef's kiss. Just beautiful, and I like whenever I see a book with your art on it, I don't even care what else is going on. I'm automatically in. Uh, I'm automatically
the check is in the mail, man.
There you go.
Don't sweat it. Appreciate that.
But no, man. So you have been, just kind of doing your thing. Just you've been all over the place. Like I feel like you stay pretty busy. But right now you have got Doom coming out this week, and I kind of one of the things I really want to know because this is like most people are probably more familiar with you on the artist side of things, but this isn't, and you are co-writing Doom with Jonathan Hickman, but
Correct.
this isn't like your first time writing. Like this, yeah, you've been writing kind of off and on for a long time, but like like what was this something that like you kind of had in your back pocket and you're just like it was just right time to do it?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, as far as the writing, I guess co-creating Bitter Root is some of that has some aspects of writing, obviously with David Walker and Chuck Brown at the helm of the writing side of things. So there is some there, but not, as much. And I did a few smaller things, creator owned things in the past, but this is definitely the most involved I've been from the writing aspect of, for the first time. And, working with a guy, a young upstart by the name of Jonathan Hickman, trying to give him a break. I thought it was be kind of cool to collaborate with a young upstarting creator. I joke every time I say that.
Well, I was gonna say because I think I remember like reading in like in an interview you had done like y'all have known each other for a long time, so like y'all kind of have that kind of back and forth.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of one-sided. He just looks at me and said, come on, Sanford, let me hold your hand here and guide you through the multiverse, Marvel multiverse. I mean, honestly, I've known him for, gosh, man, before we both got into this whole industry, and then he kind of took off into the stratosphere shortly after, and I just admired him from afar, and we got reacquainted in the last, I would say, 6 years, 7 years, and we talked a lot about trying to collaborate at some point, and this was kind of the right moment. To be honest with you, no real perfect, master plan. It was like, hey, let's do this thing. I got this cool idea. To your point, I had it in the back pocket, if you will, because Doom has always been one of my characters that I just have been in awe of since being a kid. And I'm sure that you would, most of your audience they're familiar with Doom and how he is. I consider him to be the the pulse of the Marvel universe to some degree.
Yeah.
He's in everything. He's got his hands in every corner of the Marvel universe, street level all the way to, galactic, celestial type, um, environments. He's been at every corner. So I just thought it was just kind of cool to be able to kind of take a bit of a dive into that entire aspect of who he is.
Now this is something I was curious about too, because when I found out that you were going to be doing this, the thing that kind of crossed my mind first was I was like racking my brain, like I was like, has Sanford ever done anything with Doom before? Like I would like as I started thinking about that, like so like is this like your first time? Like obviously on this level, kind of being this creatively involved in. But like, have you ever like worked on like even like any books in the past with Doom before this? So this is like your first like real crack at it.
First crack, man. For the most part, probably actually it was I did and actually this is partly how this story started to develop. Was I did a mini series based on Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars,
Okay.
and when everything got flipped, during that time period, the entire Marvel universe transitioned into the battle world, if you will. And I did a mini series, Runaways,
Mm-hmm.
um, based on the battle world, over, I guess, the overarching storyline. And the relationship with Doom and Valeria was kind of one of the key moments within that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it was a moment throughout the entire story arc, but I did a short, stint, just kind of highlighting their relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of the beginning of the spark for me, because again, I was a fan of Doom before, and just that one moment really, um, again, it kind of, it was a seed that was planted for me to want to go further into his story.
Having taken a look at Doom #1, which by the way, fantastic job. Uh
Thanks.
the like every phase of it, like it because it's one of those things as a person who is very uh uh very much like kind of dialed into like just a lot of the intricacies of art. Like there were so many, like there's a lot of awesome shots in this comic. So just the fact that you were able to I am always impressed when anyone writes and draws something. So that right there was an automatic feather in the cap right there. But also just how like intricate and just deep a lot of the panels were. Like there's like a lot of like I literally was poring over, like I was like, oh my god, like it's so cool. There's that in there. I didn't see that the first time I looked through it.
Hmm.
Like obviously, this is a big deal, for a lot of reasons, just because, you're telling this, what I feel is a really awesome kind of far off in the distance kind of story
Hmm.
that it leaves just enough, like has just enough, I guess, like daylight between it and some of the other stuff that is going on, like whatever it is you would see like in the, I guess, the current timeline of Marvel, that like it can still make sense. It
Hmm.
can still um it can still like feel like oh yeah, this is totally something that would happen.
Hmm.
So like give us a little bit of the setup here for #1.
Well, it's all about, to your point,
Mhm.
um, looking at Doom on this grand scale, if you will, but at the same time looking at who he is from within and what makes him who he is. Obviously, his, I would say, his hubris is uh, the crux of his focus, or what makes him. It's his character.
Mhm.
He just believes in what he stands for, and how he goes about doing that, whatever the objective may be, it is as long as it obtains to his ultimate achievement of his overall goal purpose, if you will, his hubris.
Mhm.
Uh, Basically, how I explained it to a few other folks as we were, we have these little private group chats with artists, and they're looking at the work, and they're asking me, similar question. How do you describe this whole grand story? And I was
Mhm.
like, basically, Doom screwed up, and he's trying to make it right
Mhm.
in a way. It's kind of like
Right.
again, his hubris is it's what brought about this to some degree. In this thing that we're speaking on is the turn of this, I guess, if you will, catastrophic event of Galactus really just letting loose, um, once and for all.
Mhm.
Enough is enough. But Doom, being who he is, feels like he's the one to save humanity, the galaxy, and he ends up accelerating its demise for the most part. And then he has to but even in that moment, that dire moment, he still believes in who he is and how he is the one set to resolve this event, if you will.
Mhm.
And again, it's all about his hubris. And Valeria plays a significant part because she actually is his somewhat of his conscious.
Right.
Their relationship is one of adoration.
Mhm.
Um, so there's really that niece uncle uh dichotomy there, or relationship that kind of is played up on. And yeah, they she's one of the well, trying not to go too far into the story, but
Yeah.
she's there to remind
Yeah.
him that he is doomed. And
Mhm.
that is one of the things that is interesting about the story, is that even though his hubris is so undeniable,
Mhm.
there is a moment that he has to be reminded, which is pretty fascinating, right?
Mhm.
And it's her that does that service.
Mhm.
And so they go off and they deal with some things, and you know stay
Well,
tuned.
well, I was gonna say, the thing I love about this too is that because when first seen, like I think this was first, I think Doom was first announced like officially. I feel like it was at least maybe a couple of months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
Hmm.
And I remember when I first saw it, like that was actually kind of some of the you start doing this for as long as I've done. It's one of those things. It's difficult for me not to kind of like, ooh, let me see if I can figure out what this is going to be about. But I remember when I was first looking, I honestly have no idea what this is going to be about. Like I was like, I
Hmm.
don't like, I
Hmm.
didn't really have, and this has come from a guy who is probably
Seeing it all,
reread. I've
right?
seen a lot. I've reread Jonathan Hickman's
Hmm.
Secret Wars and his Fantastic Four on
Hmm.
probably more times than should be healthy for any person to admit. So like the whole time I was sitting there and like and it all kind of kept coming back to one thing for me. And there's a I don't remember the exact issue number just because uh
Hmm. Hmm.
mind in the steel trap that it once was. But
Hmm.
I thought back to an interaction between Valeria and Doom, and it's kind of it's thing like when you talk in like these kind of comic book circles, there's always like a running gag like, yeah, Valeria, that
That
ain't
ain't
Reed's
Reed's.
baby, that ain't
That
Reed's
ain't Reed's
baby.
baby. No,
Or
no.
like you get the kind of Guardians of the Galaxy like that. Yeah, Reed might be your father, but
Oh, your
Doom's
daddy.
your daddy.
Yeah.
That was always kind of the
Yeah.
energy. And I
Yeah.
don't know whether Hickman actually intended to have that kind of energy with it or not, whatever. But
Hmm.
that was always kind of the energy I had for it. Was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, Doom is the real daddy.
Hmm.
He might not be the
Hmm.
biological father, but he definitely the one who
He's the
shows up
one.
for graduations and birthdays. Uh, but I wasn't really sure if that was going, like, I was hoping that was going to be something that like
Hmm.
got showcased
Hmm.
in this kind of learning a little bit, like kind of as news started to kind of drip feed out about it. I was kind of hoping, and I will say I was not disappointed on any level with how well you'll kind of wove those two
Hmm.
characters kind of
Hmm.
closer together. Like, so
Hmm.
without even really going too terribly far into it, just but like I think that for those that are watching this, if you are, I would say, even the least bit a fan of the Valeria Richards Doctor Doom dynamic, I feel like you have a lot to look forward to in this. The other thing I was curious though was Galactus, because that was the thing that I was like, because like once again, like when I was thinking about this, I was like, man, I was like, how are you gonna do Galactus in a way that like
That hasn't been done a million times,
right,
right?
yeah, because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
guy's been
yeah.
around since like I think like the 60s.
FF. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, how do you do Galactus but different? And I now know. But for you, what was like, what went into this for you? Like as far as like putting Galactus, like pulling Galactus out of the toy box and getting to
Mm.
play.
Well, that was the original premise was I wanted to have, I don't know if you would call it, this is not a spoiler, but
Mhm,
a final battle with Doom and Galactus, because I felt like, again, out of the the two most glaring adversaries to the Marvel universe. I mean, there's a few others, but in
mhm,
terms of the entire Marvel universe, the scope, they're the ones that's the most, volatile in the Marvel universe to me, in terms of
mhm.
the ones that can bring about some significant ripple effects, if you will.
And they
And
have a
again,
long
there are,
history of going against each
and
other.
they have a long history of going against each other. And again, and even with that, it's like, okay, they've done this before, but how can you make this a thing? And again, it came upon, without going too far in the story,
Mm,
this one moment where Galactus says enough. But you'll in the story you'll see why. And even the way he goes about, he eats worlds and
mm.
galaxies, if you will, but the way he's going to go about it here is a little different. um um and I thought that was kind of fun, just coming up with the whole idea of, like, what can he do that's a little more threatening. Now it's
Mm.
bad enough that you see him coming for your world, but what if he's gonna go the extra, he's gonna go a little extra harder.
Mhm.
How threatening can that be? And again, Doom, part of part of that issue that got it to that point is Doom in his hubris. He's involving himself because he feels, again, he's prepared for this moment, because he's one of the master um tacticians, if you will, and he prepares for every moment, any possible outcome for anything. He's got some kind of contingency lined up, and again, just how he lines this up, even that I thought was like, wow, has that ever been done before? Some level, but let's take it there. Let's push it a little more, and um, it didn't go so well on round one. It didn't go too well on the first round. So they got he has to hit the reset button and see what happens.
I
But
mean, hey, he had to
again,
put his
yeah,
quarterback up. He had to put his quarterback up. That's
he had to
all.
put the quarterback up. But again, this is where you get into the crux of the story, because you'll see how that comes about, and even how he Doom evolves. That was another thing where I'm like, let's do some research. Has this ever been done before? Somewhat, but let's take it just another notch
Mhm.
to where you get this evolved Doom, if you will. Again, this is all, honestly, aided by Valeria, which
Mhm.
makes it even more of a fascinating um relationship between those two.
Well, and it was kind of one of those things too for me. Like, and this is something I actually kind of wish. I kind of wish Marvel did this more.
Mm,
Yeah, and they do, and to be fair, they do it from time to time. But
hmm
like, I'm always saddened because like it never really gets leaned into like this. But like, there's
hmm
always like that tease of, oh, what if
hmm
what if Doom got to do this, or what if
hmm
what if, I don't know, man. What if Doom unlocks some hidden potential, or what if he sided with so and so and went against
hmm
whoever? And it's like, and it's one of those things
hmm
I like this because y'all can get crazy with it,
hmm
and it can be, like, it's gonna sound weird, but like it kind of reminded me, like reading this issue kind of reminded me of what it was like when I was a kid.
hmm
And like, 'cause when you're a kid, you're reading comics, like, yeah, you're always gonna be like, oh no, so and so can beat so. No, he can't. No, so and so, this guy, he can beat that guy. Or no, well, not if he does this. And
Right.
it was one of those where it was like, I was like, this is that. I was like, for me, it was that argument, given real weight,
hmm
like given real actual weight. There's a point where I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe Doom ain't that guy. And it's like, oh wait, no, maybe he is. Oh no, like, oh
Maybe
man,
he is.
Galactus.
That's
I was
right.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, man, can Galactus? I was like, oh, maybe he can. Like
It,
it was
yeah.
cool. Like
Yeah.
like it captured that magic for
hmm
me
hmm
of, hey, yeah, when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
when I'd go to the, man, oh man, I miss these days. But I mean, I could put down like a couple of bucks, and and get my
Get
new
this whole
copy of
thing.
Fantastic Four and be like, oh
Yeah.
man, it's gonna be so good. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, if it doesn't sound like you clearly did a
No.
fantastic job.
Well, thank you. Thank you, man. I mean, everything you're saying is that's exactly the reaction that I was hoping for, that we were hoping for, is
Mm,
taking us back to those times, like
mm,
when I was a kid, you're a kid, and you open that book, and there's this whole world
mm,
right before your fingertips. I mean, obviously you can get those things in different mediums now, but that book was it. That was the
mm,
only place that you could really see it. And it does kind of, and it plays upon all of those scenarios as a kid, when you had those discussions about, well, what if this would happen. And again, you know you said it, what if. I mean, it was
mm,
this book is paying homage to the what ifs, and the big annuals, or
mm,
the special, limited, special releases of single issues. Jim Starlin, when he did Captain
mm,
Marvel, the death of Captain Marvel, even the speaking of Doom, when he went teamed up with Doctor Strange,
mm. Yep.
and to go save his mom. He went to
Mm,
hell, and I just remember seeing those books as a kid, and I'm like, oh my God, these things are, it's everything right there. You read it, you have a beginning, a middle, and then there's the end. And then there's even enough there to, leave the door open for some other possibilities, but you walk away from it satisfied. You feel like, wow, this was, oh, and to that point, Marvel, they wanted to, when we finally got the story together, they wanted to make it a miniseries. The original
oh.
idea was a one shot, but
Mm,
we felt like, what are the chances of this being um, a a mini series? And I said, I think that this serves better to the points that we're talking about as a single standalone issue,
mm.
because you want to have that, to me, that Dave Chappelle moment where you leave enough there to
Yeah.
where it's like you can walk away
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you put everything into it, but there's still enough there for people to feel like, wow, this would be awesome to see again. And that
Hey,
goes
leave
back
them
to that
laughing.
point too. Leave them
Or in
laughing.
this case, leave them astonished.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I wasn't
laugh.
laughing at the end of
This,
this. I was
yeah,
like, my mouth was hung open when I was reading this book. I was like,
uh,
oh. I was
yeah,
like, it's like that.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
the ending is definitely and to that point, even with the ending, I me and Hickman, we were trying to wrap it up,
Mhm.
and I said, "What if th we put this in there?" Because this thing, I mean, you see how Doom evolves. These things that's kind of hinted at towards the end, they're gonna, it's gonna have some impact because they're like, "Wait a minute, you okay? We're gonna have to slow your roll, buddy. You can't." What's happening here? You can't just roll up with all that,
Right.
your hubris is one thing, but anyway. So
Yeah.
that's the that part was a part that we really I definitely wanted to
Mhm.
put that there. And who knows, that again, that's the type of thing that leaves enough there to where um when you're talking about these parallel worlds, it could lead to something. And that, Marvel, they felt good about that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I hope that yeah, because that was actually one of the things I thought when I got to the end of it. I was like, man, I really hope they get to come back to this at some point. Like, I wasn't expecting anything like, man, they have to come back right now. But it was like, because I know like just the nature of this type of the story. It's like,
Hmm.
you want to make sure that you do it the best way humanly possible. So I was like, you know what? If it comes down to one of those things where it's like, man, okay, we got this one now, but man, if they come back like say, maybe later this year or next year, and it's like, oh hey, guess what, man, we back, and I'm like,
Be back.
oh man, I kind of want to see what they, I kind of want to see what they do with it. That's
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm. It actually pleases me to hear that you know, because you always hear these stories about editorials like, oh, they made him do this or they made him do that, and the fact that it was like a situation where it was like y'all got to tell the story you wanted to tell,
Mhm.
and it wasn't push this direction or that direction. It was like
Mhm.
it got to be the thing it needed to be.
Mhm.
So that part makes me really happy.
Mhm.
I also am curious too, just to because as a guy who draws when he can,
Mhm.
uh there's I think there's like two or three like big splash pages, just
Mhm.
that are like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away because I'm sorry. Y'all have to
Understood.
pay. Yeah, y'all have to pay money for this. I'm sorry. Y'all have to pay money for
Yeah.
this. I can't give this to y'all. But there's a couple of really big pages,
Mhm.
and I don't want to spoil any of it. But the question I want to ask that way, because when y'all go and read this for yourselves, when you go pick it up, I want y'all to go. Y'all will see these pages I'm talking about, and I want y'all to think about what he's about to say when you look at those
What am I about
pages.
to say? What am I about to say? You're setting me
how
up.
how bad did your hand hurt after you
Uh,
got done drawing these pages? Like, how
uh-oh.
long
Oh,
did
you
it
see.
take?
There you go. I got well,
um
this isn't the brace, but I do
mm,
have one.
okay.
Um, I've I will say this, honestly,
Mm,
in all seriousness, it wasn't bad. I
mm,
think partly because I was given the time,
mm,
thank goodness for that. Um, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. Now, mind you, there were days where I would look at a page and there's moments I'm getting cross-eyed. I'm like, wait a minute, what did I thought I finished this page. I didn't finish this page yet. Because I honestly didn't work linear. I
mm.
worked very, it was all over the place. It's just,
Just kind of as you needed.
yeah, I went with pages that I connected to immediately or whatever.
Mm,
I went in that direction. Um, I don't recommend that to folks because that can be, but I think partly because writing the story, that was what I had enough of it in my mind of understanding where I wanted to go, to where I could afford to move around a little more. Which was kind of unique, but yeah, it was cool to it wasn't as bad as you think. I think it was just fun because I got to draw characters I'd never done before. I got to draw Squirrel Girl. Never drawn her before, so never drawn that I know of. I don't think
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm thinking
I don't
back.
know. I mean,
I'm
look,
like, no, I don't think yeah.
look, every artist has to have their Squirrel Girl moment,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's got
yeah.
you gotta if you're working on a Marvel thing, that is.
Yeah.
So that's a bucket list. That's a bucket list achievement. But no,
See, now
seriously, but
now you have to do, instead of Doom, now you have to do Squirrel for the next one, and it's Squirrel Girl versus Galactus. It's the rematch.
yeah, right. And it's well, I mean, it is not a spoiler or anything like that, but seeing her in there, people will say, wait a minute, she's here. I thought they were, I thought she did them in already. Why is
Right.
he, but no, it was uh a different, again, this is kind of a parallel universe, if you will, or story. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just fun to play around with characters. I have a sketchbook. Some of the sketches will be in the one shot in the
Yeah.
back matter. I drew sketches of every character that I can think of. I went through my official handbooks, the official handbooks of the Marvel Universe, and I said, okay, all right, let's try these guys. Let's put this person here, and let's see if I can get those characters in the story at some point. And that's,
Okay.
I think I got pretty much everyone that it felt right, if you will,
It's
because
a lot of characters. It's a
there's a lot of
lot.
characters, I mean, but this, this is not a spoiler, but there is, how should I say, this is about characters who will be up for the task. Um,
Yes.
that you can say hero villain,
Mhm.
but if you think in that, what characters would be at least leaning towards dealing with this imminent threat of Galactus, right?
Mhm.
And because there won't be certain characters in there. They're just not, it doesn't
Right.
make sense. It wouldn't make sense to have them there. And that's mostly villains more than anything.
Mm. Well, I can definitely say, seeing some of these, like I'm going back and actually looking at them right now as we've been talking, and I'm like, man, it's a damn crying shame you haven't done a book for any of these. There's like quite a there's a
Yeah.
I it's a number not less than 40, but there's at least 40 characters. I'm like, man, how have they not gotten this cat on a book for this? Like, dude, this is one last question. This is technically, this isn't Doom related, but I know I would get my head busted by my audience if I did not ask you this when I have you right here. Because that's going to be the first thing. Like, man, why didn't you ask about this? Why didn't you ask
Mhm.
about that? So my last question, and you probably know
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So when are we getting back
We're gonna
on?
get more of that there.
When we gonna
Uh-huh.
get when we get back on this right here?
Man, I'll tell you what.
Do I need
That's a
to
good.
call David? Do I need to call
So
Chuck?
you can call them, but right over here behind me
Mhm.
on this drafting table is the next story arc. So sometime you can look behind. It's not behind you, it's behind me.
Oh
I I,
no, no,
I got it here.
I'm just like, that
Hey,
wasn't the answer I was expecting. I was like,
yeah,
okay,
it's that. Yeah, we got the next story arc.
all right.
I can even say this because it's kind of been out there
Mm,
already. But what do you think about the next generation of the Sangre
okay.
family
That
taking place?
is
Yeah,
that is kind of where that was kind of the thing I was thinking about. Like, because when you get to
yeah.
the end of that series, it was like, okay, I was like, oh, we're jumping ahead a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to that next stage. The
Mm-hmm.
landscape is not what it was before. It's
Mm-hmm.
wild and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I really want to know like how, because like there's that big time jump, but
Mm-hmm.
like when you get to the end, and it's like, man, I want to know so much about how this is all like gonna come together. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure like when we were gonna get it again, but like
Yeah.
you saying that lets me know like yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. We're good. And how about a time jump just a little further than what you get in the end of the that short story that's in the I think it's in the omnibus as well.
Mm.
But we did a short story that was in an anthology. I think it's in there. See,
I think
we've done so much,
I
but
was about to say I think it is in here. I
there's
believe it
there's a short,
is.
yeah, there's a 6-page story, I think, that kind
Yes.
of leads, and it shows you
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
the younger generation they're raising up.
Mm.
Um, but what if that generation is already older and there's another generation
Ooh.
coming? So that's where we're going, even in that sense.
Okay.
We'll fill in the
Yeah.
gaps. We'll fill in the gaps from that. But 1960s, man. We're about to go there.
Ooh. Oh man, look. I'll just say this for those that don't know what we're if you for whatever reason you're not familiar, please go check out Bitterroot. But
Mhm.
it is like it the level of craziness from the you like just the first run of the series was already pretty wild. It was already like there was already a lot of wild stuff. Like whenever I tell people about this book, like I'm always like,
Mm.
look, just sit down, just look here, just hold on to this for a minute.
Yeah,
You won't regret it. But
right.
seeing the world as we know it of the 60s through the lens of Bitterroot in that same time
Mm.
period,
Mhm.
I
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
mm,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm
some slow
excited.
singing and flower bringing, man. That's
Ooh. Yeah,
a lot of
you
fun
got
though.
me you got like it makes me wonder like oh man, yeah, I kind of got a feeling yeah, y'all are gonna be cooking on this. Y'all are gonna be
Well,
cooking on
I'll say this because again, it's kind of out there, but just to
Mhm,
kind of get people's get people's minds wrapped around the look. We were just thinking, what could we do that would keep the momentum moving forward.
mhm,
Um, Again, it's the same premise, but how can we do something that would be kind of like the next level, if you will?
mhm,
This family hunting monsters. What does that look like? What's their technology in this time
mhm,
period? What are the monsters that they're fighting? Everything is evolved,
mhm,
just like history. In time, things have evolved.
mhm.
Technology, what have you. So we started playing around with the aesthetics, and yeah, if you're a fan of
Mhm.
Agents of Shield and Challenges of the Unknown and
Mhm.
Kirby and all that stuff. Just put some black folks in there and let's see
Hey,
let's see
season
what
it
we
up.
get.
Hey,
Season it
season
up a
it
little
up,
bit.
man.
Right. Yeah.
You already gave us monsters fueled by hatred and racism and
Mm-hmm.
and people who have been afflicted by those things turning into monsters.
Mm-hmm.
People been the victim rather of those
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine the next logical step. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that has like you have me very excited. You have me very excited. Uh
Well, it's the same premise. Same
mm,
premise, just new era, new,
mm,
same fight, new era. And
mm,
but with that, we hope to, give you something that's the next, evolution of
mm.
Bitterroot.
I know I became a huge fan of Bitterroot like from the word go. So
Mm.
I yeah, I have absolute faith. I have absolute faith. I will say for those who if you're sitting here watching this, just so you know, Doom is out this week. I believe we're on the 13th, so it'll be out this 15th. This video will likely be up by then. But go check it out. Go read it, please. Trust me. I will say you will not be surprised at how good it is, but you will be surprised at what all you're going to see in it. Because I thought I knew. I did not know. I thought I knew. I thought I had a handle on this, but I did not. I was actually very pleasantly surprised. And I guess obviously y'all are going to go check out Doom. Sanford, was there anything else you wanted to plug while you were here?
No, that's basically it, man. Again, stay tuned for that. Currently working on the next Bitterroot arc. Got a few other things that's kind of in the works. Kind of this other thing that's outside of the comic book sphere, but still within the comic sphere is I had the pleasure of working on Across the Spider-Verse film, and stay tuned for what's coming with that. That's down the road, but I'll be doing doing some of that stuff too. So
see, yep. Look, hey, like I said, this cat stays busy.
Stays busy, man. I gotta feed these kids, man. These kids, they drive me nuts, man. They eat, sleep, repeat, but but yeah, that's it for the most part, man.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I know we went over this a little bit because there's some things I just couldn't resist.
No doubt.
But thank you so much again, and thank you for your time. And like I said, yeah, whenever you have anything on the horizon, please feel more than free to reach out to me. You got an open door here. My platform is always open. And yeah. I can't wait to see. Like I said, you legit got me excited. like I'm sitting here right now. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to run through this book again, man. I got to go through it again. I got to do it.
And there's some things also in what was written within the text. Fans of, well, you just got to get the book. When you get the book, if you're a fan of hip hop culture, I'll say that. I'll just keep it real broad.
Okay.
You'll even see some things there that will it should be pleasing to those who discover those things.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Y'all heard it here first, y'all. Thank you so much, Sanford. And yeah, hey, Doom, go get it. You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.